Dear students, this is the e-learning platform of Cambridge International School, Dasua. I am Kamaljeet Sharma, PGT Accountancy, teaching accountancy to the students for grade 11th and 12th in Cambridge International School. And this session is for the subject of accountancy for grade 11th commerce. Let's recap. Students, as you know, we have started chapter number 8, Journal, from your book Double Entry Bookkeeping by T.S. Garewal. In this chapter, you have learned about the formation of journal entries. Today, we will learn about few more journal entries. I hope this session would help you to understand this chapter very clear. Today, we will continue your chapter number 8, that is journal. Before starting the journal entries, let us revise the rules to form a journal entry. All the traditional rules and modern rules which we have studied in the chapter number 6. These rules are very much important while formation of journal entries of a business. Students, the accounts are classified on two bases, that is traditional approach and modern approach. We have learned about the traditional approach. Traditional approach is also called English approach, whereas modern approach is also called American approach. In traditional approach, there are broadly two types of account, personal account and impersonal account. Personal accounts are further classified into natural personal accounts, artificial personal accounts, and representative personal accounts. Whereas impersonal accounts are further classified into real accounts and nominal accounts. Personal account, as the name appears, related with person. So natural person's account, for example, Ram account, Sham account, Sita, Geeta, Ina, Meena, these all are natural personal accounts. Artificial personal accounts are those which are non beings, not living beings, but we have some names for the establishments. For example, ICICI Bank, Cambridge International School, say Gupta Cloth Emporium, say Pizza Hut, Domino's, all these establishments which carry a name but non-living beings. That's why they are called artificial personal accounts. Representative personal accounts are those which represents a group or an item. For example, outstanding expenses like salaries outstanding, prepaid expenses like prepaid insurance, accrued incomes like accrued commission or accrued interest, unearned incomes like advance commission. Whereas impersonal accounts which do not have any relation with any person, these are classified into real account. Real means actually. So all assets lies under the category of real account. Nominal accounts, as the name appears, nominal, which means it is nothing. But for our convenience, we have given them some names. For example, all the expenses, losses, incomes and gains lies under the category of nominal account. So for the purpose of balancing the accounts or preparation of accounts or for journal entries, all these we have used these traditional approach accounts in the form of personal, real or nominal account. Whereas in the modern approach, we'll be using types of accounts in the name of assets account, liability account, capital account, revenue account or expenses account. We have categorized into these 5 accounts. Let us revise the traditional approach. The rule for personal account is debit the receiver and credit the giver. The rule for real account is debit what comes in, credit what goes out. And the rule for nominal account is debit all expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gains. Now we will start the modern approach. We have identified or categorized the total accounts in 5 categories: assets, liabilities, capital, revenue and expenses. First of all, we have to identify the accounts involved in the transaction, whether it is asset or a liability or a capital or a revenue or expense. Let us discuss assets. Assets. If there is any increase in the asset of the organization given in that transaction, the increase in asset will be debited, whereas decrease in the assets will be credited. Now comes the liability. If the value of liabilities increases, it will be credited, and if the value of liabilities decreases, it will be debited. Now comes the capital. If the capital of the proprietor increases in the business, if the balance of the capital increases in the business, it must be credited, and if the capital decreases, it must be debited. Now comes the revenue. Now what is revenue? Revenue is the amount received from the sale of goods and services. So if there is any increase in revenue, it should be credited, or if there is decrease in the revenue, it should be debited. Now comes the expenses. Expenses are the amount spent to generate the revenue. So if there is any increase in the expenses of the organization, these expenses are debited. And if there is any decrease in the expenses, it should be credited. Students, now we will learn the formation of journal entries. There are 3 simple steps to be followed for recording a journal entry. The step 1 is simply identify the accounts involved in the transaction. Then the second step is judge the nature of accounts involved, whether it is a personal, a real or a nominal account. The step 3, that is analyze the effect, then apply the rule and form a journal entry. Let us take an example. For example, cash received from Ram rupees 9,000. In this transaction, there are 2 accounts involved. One is cash, another is Ram. Cash, being an asset, comes under the category of real account. Ram is a natural person, comes under the category of personal account. Now in the first step, we have identified the accounts involved, that is cash and Ram are the 2 accounts involved in the transaction. After that, in the second step, we judge the nature of these accounts involved. The cash is an asset, so it comes under the category of real account, whereas Ram is a natural person, comes under the category of personal account. Now we'll move to step number 3. In the step number 3, we have to analyze the effect. So it is very much clear from the transaction that cash is coming into the business. So cash comes into the business, whereas Ram is the giver, means Ram gives the money to the business. So after analyzing the effect, we have to apply the rule. So as per traditional approach, the rule for a real account is debit what comes in and credit what goes out. Here cash comes into the business, so cash must be debited. And as per the personal account rule, it is debit the receiver and credit the giver. So here Ram is giver to the business, so Ram must be credited. So we will check the first step and the last step, that is third step. So here cash is debited, Ram is credited. So follow these simple steps to form a journal entry. Now let us take an example to journalize few transactions. The first transaction is Shyam become insolvent. Insolvent means bankrupt. A first and final compensation of 75 paisa and a rupee was received from his official receiver. He owed us rupees 10,000. It means after the bankruptcy of Shyam, we have received only 75 paisa in a rupee. There are 100 paisa in a rupee. It means 75%, that is 75 upon 100. So we will calculate the cash recovered like 10,000 into 75 divided by 100. It means we will receive rupees 7,500 out of rupees 10,000. So 2,500 is a loss. Next is received cash for bad debt written off last year. It means in the previous year we have written off the debtors worth rupees 5,000 as bad debt, irrecoverable. But in the current year, that loss of the previous year converted into profit of this year, gain of this year. So here cash we will receive rupees 5,000 on account of bad debt recovered. Next is rent due to landlord. It means rent due but not paid to the landlord. So here two accounts are involved, rent account and rent outstanding account. Next one is salaries due to clerks. Same like previous transaction, it is salaries due to clerks, means salaries and salaries outstanding are involved, means salary due but not paid. Next is placed an order with Rakesh Mohan for the supply of goods of the list price rupees 1 lakh. In this connection, Raman paid 10% of the list price as an advance by check. It means we have placed an order with Rakesh Mohan, one of the creditor, one of the seller, worth rupees 1 lakh. Out of this 1 lakh, we have paid only 10% as an advance. 10% of 1 lakh is 10,000 rupees. It means we have spent rupees only 10,000 as an advance, and advance payment is made by check. It means bank is involved. Now let us journalize. In the first entry, Shyam owed us rupees 10,000 and we have received only 7,500. So cash is an asset. It is real account. Cash comes into the business. It must be debited. Bad debts are the losses, nominal account. So debit all expenses and losses. So bad debt must be debited. So to Shyam's account, it is a personal account and Shyam is the giver. So cash account debit, bad debt account debit to Shyam's account. Cash account debit with 7,500, bad debt, that is lost rupees 2,500 to Shyam's account 10,000, because the total amount of 10,000 is written off here. Shyam will not pay anything in the future. Next one is cash account debit to bad debt recovered. It means cash comes into the business and bad debt recovered is a gain. As per the rule of nominal account, bad debt recovered is a gain. So credit all incomes and gains. Next is rent account debit to rent outstanding. So rent is an expense and expenses when due but not paid become our liabilities. So rent account debit rupees 8,000 to rent outstanding as a representative personal account. It must be credited, or you can apply here modern rule also, because increase in liabilities must be credited. And same as the third entry, we have same recorded the entry number 4, salaries due. So salaries account debit to outstanding salary account with rupees 10,000 rupees. Next is 10,000 rupees we have paid for an advance for future order. So advance to Rakesh Mohan, we will debit the Rakesh Mohan receiver, debit the receiver. So advance to Rakesh Mohan account debit to bank account because the payment is made by check. In this session, we have learned about few more journal entries using the traditional approach to rules of debit and credit. I hope this will help you to understand the concept of the topic more easily. Now students, try to understand the basic concepts of this chapter once again and try to solve some illustrations as well as unsolved questions from your book Double Entry Bookkeeping by T.S. Grewal. You can also try to solve some questions from NCERT, but all the questions to be done in your homework notebook. In the next session, we will continue our next topic. Till then, dear students, to stop the COVID-19, stay home. If you don't think about yourself, think about your loved ones. So stay home please, but study regularly.